buzz of my phone is a physical jolt, a violent rip from a sleep so deep it felt like a miniature death. Sunlight, thin and insistent, slices through the cheap curtains of my studio apartment. For a disoriented second, I don't know where I am or when I am. Then Marcus's text lights up the screen. "Working late again tonight, babe. Don't wait up." The words are a familiar echo, a ghostly refrain from a past I thought was buried. 6 months ago, no, not 6 months ago, but in another lifetime that ended 6 months from this present moment, that text would have been a tiny, sharp icicle into my heart. Another evening spent staring at the cooling dinner I'd made. Another night wondering if work had a name, a scent, a softer touch than mine. But this time, a cold, knowing smile touches my lips. I know exactly where he is. I know who he's with. The cloying sweetness of her perfume, the practiced tilt of her head as she listens to him, her manicured fingers tracing patterns on his hand. Sophia, my best friend, my business partner, my betrayer. The scent of stale coffee from the shop downstairs, a smell that used to be my morning comfort, now mingles with the musty reality of my old futon. My body feels younger, less burdened. I glance at my hands, smoother, no trace of the IV bruises that were my last companions. 24 again. It's an impossible gift, a terrifying, exhilarating second act. 6 months. I have 6 months until the day I originally died, alone and broken, while they celebrated the launch of our company, built on my ideas. This time, I won't be the one fading away. The bell above the daily grind jingles, a cheerful sound that's utterly at odds with the knot in my stomach. I'm early, deliberately so. I choose a small table near the back, tucked into an alcove, the kind of spot you pick when you want to see but not be seen. My black coffee arrives, bitter and scalding, a perfect mirror for my mood. And then, like clockwork, they walk in. Marcus, with that easy charm that used to make my knees weak, now just looks like a predator in a well-fitting suit. And Sophia gliding beside him, her eyes flicking around the cafe with an air of proprietary ownership. They don't see me, of course they don't. In their world, I'm a background character easily overlooked. They settle into their corner, the one they always called their secret spot. Secret from whom? Certainly not from me this time. I watch as Marcus slides a tablet across the table. My confidential marketing proposal. My algorithm. The very heart of the social media platform we were supposed to build together. Sophia's perfectly manicured fingers, the nails painted a demure, deceptive blush, trace the lines of my work. She leans in, her voice a low murmur that I can't hear but can imagine perfectly. Encouraging, admiring, subtly guiding him on how to steal from me more effectively. The coffee burns my tongue, but it's nothing compared to the acid taste of betrayal churning in my gut. I remember that sterile hospital room, the relentless beep of the monitors, the crushing weight of loneliness as I realized they'd not only stolen my company but also my future. They were toasting their success, their names in headlines, while I was gasping for my last breath, my body ravaged by stress-induced illness, a footnote in my own life story. No, not this time. This time, the story will have a very different ending. I take a slow sip of coffee, the bitterness a promise. The walk home is a minefield of memories. Every corner, every shopfront screams of a past I'm now condemned, or perhaps privileged, to relive and reshape. I pass by the conservatory, its elegant arched windows showcasing a wedding in progress. White flowers, shimmering lights, the distant sound of laughter. 6 months from now, in that other life, this was where Marcus and I were supposed to get married. I remember the excitement, the endless discussions about guest lists and color schemes. Sophia by my side helping me choose the perfect shade of ivory, her eyes shining with what I'd mistaken for joy. Then came the excuses. Marcus, his face a mask of regret, telling me we needed to postpone. "The startup needs all our focus, Em," he'd said, his hand covering mine, his touch suddenly feeling cold. Sophia, her voice dripping with false sympathy, agreed. "He's right, Em. It's just for a little while. We'll have the wedding of your dreams once the company is stable." Crocodile tears. The memory of her feigned sorrow makes my stomach clench. The worst was the final, brutal revelation. It wasn't a sudden decision. They'd been planning it for months. Whispered conversations I'd been too trusting to question. Late-night strategy sessions that didn't include me. Financial documents I was told were too complex for me to worry about. They were systematically dismantling my life, piece by piece, while smiling to my face. My chest tightens, the ghost of that old, helpless rage clawing at my throat. But beneath it, something new. A thrum. A low, steady pulse of power. The naivete is gone, burned away by the fires of my first death. This Emma isn't weak. This Emma isn't blind. This Emma is a walking, breathing storm. And they have no idea the tempest they've reawakened. Back in the oppressive silence of my cramped apartment, the air thick with the ghosts of past disappointments, I flip open my laptop. The screen flickers to life, a portal to a past I now control. My fingers, trembling not with the remembered heartbreak of discovery, but with a cold, sharp anticipation, navigate to my old email account. There it is. The thread I'd found too late in my previous life. The digital dagger that had confirmed every whispered fear. Subject, streamlining operations. Sophia's name, then Marcus's. A casual clinical discussion about the future of our company. Their company. Sophia. Alex Kane's office confirmed the VC meeting for the 15th. We need to present a united front. Emma's algorithm is key, but her emotional approach isn't what Kane is looking for. Marcus. Agreed. We need to handle this delicately. Once the funding is secured, we can discuss a buyout for her. Make it seem like we're doing her a favor. Ease her out. Ease me out. Like an inconvenient piece of furniture, like a minor character whose arc had run its course. My breath catches, but it's not a sob, it's a gasp of vindication. The evidence, stark and damning, laid out before me. Last time, finding this had shattered me. I'd confronted them, my voice choked with tears, my hands shaking. They'd denied it, of course, gaslit me, made me feel like I was the one being unreasonable, paranoid. This time, my fingers are steady as I hit print screen. Again. And again. Each screenshot is a bullet, each saved file a nail in their coffins. I won't be eased out. I won't be bought out with scraps from the table they stole from me. This time, they'll be the ones left with nothing. The fluorescent light in my tiny bathroom flickers erratically, casting dancing shadows on my reflection. I stare at the woman in the mirror. She's younger, her eyes brighter, not yet shadowed by the relentless stress and heartache that had defined my final months. The lines of worry that had etched themselves around my mouth are gone. My skin, though pale, has a youthful resilience I'd forgotten. My hand instinctively goes to my left ring finger. It's bare. In that other life, Marcus's grandmother's antique promise ring had sat there, a delicate band of rose gold and tiny seed pearls. A promise of forever. A promise that had turned to dust. I remember the day he gave it to me, the earnest look in his eyes. The way my heart had swelled with a love so pure, so absolute, it felt unbreakable. What a fool I'd been. I leaned closer to the mirror, my reflection's eyes meeting mine. There's a hardness there now, a glint of something cold and unyielding that wasn't there before. A new vow forms on my lips, whispered into the humid air of the small room, each word a shard of ice. This time, I won't just survive your betrayal, Marcus. Sophia. The names feel like ash in my mouth. I'll make you wish you'd never been born. The fluorescent light above buzzes, then flickers violently, as if the universe itself is acknowledging my dark promise, sealing it in the charged silence of my second chance. A chill, exhilarating and terrifying, runs down my spine. The game has just begun, and this time, I know all the rules. The key scrapes in the lock, a familiar sound that now triggers a switch within me. I smooth the expression of weary concern from my face, replacing it with the soft, adoring smile Marcus expects. He walks in, tossing his briefcase onto the worn armchair, loosening his tie with a sigh that's pure performance. Long day, babe? I ask, my voice pitched to that perfect note of gentle sympathy he's always found so comforting. So easy to manipulate. Brutal, he says, running a hand through his perfectly tousled hair. This new project is a killer. We're all pulling crazy hours. He leans in for a kiss, his lips cool, his eyes already scanning the tiny apartment for something. A misplaced bill, a forgotten chore, anything he can use to subtly assert his dominance. Tonight, however, he finds nothing but his dutiful girlfriend and the aroma of his favorite chicken stir-fry. I serve him dinner, the one he always praises, the one Sophia taught me how to make just the way he likes it. The irony is a bitter spice I no longer taste, or rather, one I've learned to savor. I watch him eat, watch the way his jaw works as he chews, listen to the carefully constructed narrative of his fictitious workday. Project deadlines, demanding clients, technical glitches. Each lie is a perfectly polished stone, and he lays them out one by one, building a wall between us. A wall I'm already on the other side of. So, he begins, pushing a stray piece of broccoli around his plate. About this weekend. I know we planned that hike, but Henderson called. Wants us in on Saturday for a brainstorming session. Rain check? My smile doesn't falter. Of course, honey, work comes first. We can always go hiking another time. Inside, I'm cataloging. Henderson, Saturday, brainstorming. Translation, Sophia, Saturday, plotting our coup. He'll spend the day with her, probably at her chic, minimalist apartment. That's a world away from this cramped studio, finalizing the details of how to present my algorithm to Alexander Kane as their own brilliant creation. He reaches across the table, takes my hand. His touch is meant to be reassuring, loving. It feels like the cold, smooth skin of a snake. You're the best, Em. So understanding. Always, I murmur, squeezing his hand just tightly enough. He has no idea how understanding I truly am. The doorbell chimes precisely at 7:30 p.m. on Wednesday, Sophia's designated girls' night. She breezes in, a whirlwind of expensive perfume, something floral and complex that always makes me feel slightly nauseous, and effortless style. Tonight, it's a silk blouse that probably costs more than my monthly grocery budget, and a designer handbag I recognize from a recent fashion spread. She air kisses me, her lips carefully avoiding actual contact. Emma, darling, you look tired, she says, her voice oozing that carefully cultivated sympathy I now see for the weapon it is. She produces a bottle of chilled Pinot Grigio, her favorite, not mine. Thought you could use this? Marcus working you too hard, or is he just being his usual driven self? I play my part, offering a wan smile. A bit of both, I guess. He's so stressed about this new VC pitch. I pour the wine, watching her settle onto my lumpy sofa like a queen gracing a peasant's hovel. The apartment suddenly feels smaller, shabbier in her presence. Oh, that Kane pitch? Sophia says, swirling her wine with an air of casual knowledge. Yes, Marcus mentioned it. It's a huge opportunity. He's lucky to have you being so supportive. She takes a delicate sip. Speaking of men, you won't believe the disaster date I had last week. Honestly, are there any decent guys left in this city? And so it begins. Her monologue of fabricated dating woes, designed to make her seem relatable, vulnerable, just one of the girls. I listen, nod, offer the expected murmurs of sympathy and outrage. Oh no, he didn't. You're kidding me. All the while I'm observing. The way her eyes sharpen when I mention Marcus's stress, the subtle, almost imperceptible smile that plays on her lips when she thinks I'm not looking. She's gauging my mood, my level of suspicion, my potential as a threat. I feed her ego. I confide my entirely feigned insecurities about Marcus. He's just so distant lately, Soph. Always working. I worry he's pulling away. Sophia's hand covers mine, her touch surprisingly cold despite her warm words. Oh, sweetie, don't be silly. He adores you. He's just under a lot of pressure. You know how ambitious he is. Her eyes are full of false sincerity. She's soaking it up. Every fabricated fear, every insecurity I lay out for her like a trail of breadcrumbs. Good. Let her think I'm weak, crumbling, easily managed. Her underestimation of me was her first mistake in our previous life. It will be her downfall in this one. The city lights cast a dull orange glow through my window as I hunched over my laptop, the remnants of a hastily eaten sandwich forgotten beside me. Sophia's cloying perfume still hangs in the air. a ghostly reminder of her duplicity. But now, alone in the quiet hum of my apartment, the real work begins. Alexander Kane, venture capital titan, kingmaker. The man Marcus and Sophia are so desperate to impress. The man whose investment they believe will launch them into the stratosphere, leaving me a forgotten casualty in their ascent. I dive deep, financial reports, industry analyses, archived interviews, even grainy paparazzi photos. I learn that Kane, despite his ruthless reputation, values authenticity above all else. He's spoken at length about seeking passionate entrepreneurs, people who live and breathe their ideas, not just those chasing a quick profit. He despises corporate drones, sycophants, and anyone who tries to bullshit him. A slow smile spreads across my face. Marcus. His entire persona is built on carefully constructed charm, on mirroring the desires and expectations of powerful men. He's a chameleon, an opportunist, utterly incapable of genuine passion for anything beyond his own ambition. And Sophia, for all her cunning, is too focused on the prize to see the flaws in their approach or in her partner. My algorithm, the one they're planning to pitch, is revolutionary. I know it, but I am its soul, its creator. My passion is woven into its very code. They can steal the framework, but they can't steal the fire that forged it. The laptop screen illuminates my face, the cool blue light reflecting in my determined eyes. I see Kane, not as an obstacle, but as an instrument. Marcus's obsession with impressing him, his complete inability to see me as anything more than a supportive, slightly dim-witted girlfriend. These are not my weaknesses. These are the levers I will use to dismantle their world. You'll never guess who I ran into at that marketing seminar yesterday, I say, stirring my latte with deliberate slowness. We're at our usual Saturday morning cafe, the one where Marcus first told me he loved me, the one where Sophia and I used to spend hours planning our future. The air smells of roasted beans and broken promises. Marcus looks up from his phone, his attention momentarily snagged from whatever urgent work matter he was pretending to deal with. Who? A guy named Ben Carter, works in acquisitions at Kane Industries. I keep my tone light, casual, as if it's a minor detail. His eyes, which a moment ago were glazed with feigned importance, sharpen. A flicker of predatory interest. I see it, clear as day. Kane Industries? Really? What's he like? Oh, smart, professional. I take a sip of my latte. He was actually really interested in some of the campaign strategies I was talking about for that freelance client, the organic grocer. A total fabrication, but a plausible one. Marcus leans forward, his voice dropping conspiratorially. Really? What kind of strategies? Did he say anything about what Kane is looking for in new ventures? His concern for my freelance work is touching, if entirely fake. He's pumping me, his mind already racing, connecting dots, seeing an opportunity. The ambient cafe noise, the clatter of cups, the low hum of conversation, the soft jazz music seems to swell, a soundtrack to his transparent manipulation. In my past life, I would have been flattered by his interest, eager to share, desperate for his approval. I would have seen his questions as a sign of his support for my career. Now I see the gears turning, the calculation in his eyes. He doesn't see me. He sees a conduit, a stepping stone. Not much, I say with a slight shrug. Just general industry stuff. Why are you thinking of approaching them directly? He leans back, a casual smile plastered on his face, but his eyes are still hungry. Just curious, Em. Always good to know what the big players are thinking. Yes, it is, Marcus. And soon you'll know exactly what this player is thinking. The transformation of my online persona is subtle, almost imperceptible to a casual observer. But to someone watching closely, someone like Marcus or Sophia, who are constantly monitoring their environment for threats and opportunities, the shifts are there. The cute, slightly ditzy couple photos with Marcus? They're still there, but fewer and further between. In their place, posts highlighting my recent, albeit minor, successes at my actual marketing job. A glowing client testimonial, a snapshot from an industry workshop with a caption about leveling up my strategic thinking. A thoughtfully written piece on LinkedIn about emerging trends in social media engagement, carefully curated to showcase my expertise without revealing the core of my true algorithm. When we're out with mutual friends, I subtly steer conversations towards my career ambitions. I talk about my passion for building communities, for creating connections, for innovative marketing solutions. I drop hints about a personal project I'm working on, something game changing. I watch their reactions. Marcus usually feigns supportive pride, while Sophia offers encouraging smiles that don't quite reach her eyes. They think it's cute, my little hobby. They have no idea. Each post, each comment, each carefully worded conversation is a chess piece. I'm not just building a brand, I'm building a narrative. A narrative where Emma Santos is not just Marcus's supportive girlfriend, but a brilliant, ambitious marketing mind in her own right. A narrative that will make my eventual triumph not just believable, but inevitable. The foundation is being laid brick by painstaking brick. And soon, very soon, I'll be ready to build my fortress. The apartment is quiet, filled only with the rhythmic hiss of the shower and the scent of lavender body wash. My lavender body wash, the one Marcus always said he loved, right before he'd roll over and fall asleep, leaving me to stare at the ceiling, wondering where his mind and sometimes his body had really been. I step out, toweling my hair, and there it is. Sitting on my cluttered desk next to my laptop, almost mocking me with its blatant presence, a sleek silver USB drive, his USB drive. And my laptop screen, which I'd left on the login page, is now displaying my desktop. He'd accessed it, copied my work. This is it, the exact moment. In my past life, I'd come out of the shower to find him hunched over my computer, a guilty flush on his face. He'd stammered some excuse about needing a file, his own laptop crashing. I'd been suspicious, hurt, but ultimately I'd believed him. Or chosen to. The USB drive, then, had been his method of stealing my breakthrough social media marketing algorithm, the one he would later claim as his own genius. This time, there's no tearful confrontation, no trembling accusations. My heart beats a steady, rhythmic drum against my ribs, a war drum. I pick up the USB drive. It feels cold, alien in my hand. Instead of throwing it at him, instead of screaming, I walk calmly to my laptop. With a few swift clicks, I install the tracking software I downloaded last week. A nasty little program that will not only tell me where and when this drive is accessed, but also allow me remote access to its contents. Then, the master stroke. I open the file containing my algorithm, the original pristine version. With meticulous care, I begin to introduce subtle flaws. A misdirected variable here, a flawed data pathway there, tiny, almost undetectable errors that will remain dormant, invisible, until the algorithm is put under the stress of a live, high-stakes presentation. Then, and only then, will they bloom into catastrophic failure. I save the corrupted version onto his USB drive. Then, I replace it on the desk, exactly where I found it. A perfect, silent exchange. The time bomb is planted. The emergency meeting is a blur of forced smiles and barely concealed panic. 3 potential investors, the ones Marcus and Sophia had been courting for weeks, sit around the polished mahogany table of their rented meeting room. Their faces are impassive, their eyes sharp. They smell desperation like sharks smell blood. Marcus is a whirlwind of nervous energy, pacing, adjusting his tie, his voice a little too loud, a little too jovial. Sophia is his calm counterpoint, serene and composed. Her smile a carefully constructed mask of confidence. She keeps patting his arm, murmuring reassurances. Partners in crime indeed. And me? I'm in the corner, the supportive girlfriend, offering water, taking notes that I'll never refer to. I watch Marcus launch into his presentation, his voice gaining confidence as he moves to his section, the revolutionary new algorithm that will apparently change the face of social media marketing, my algorithm. He clicks through the slides, his explanations smooth, practiced. I see Sophia nod approvingly from the sidelines, a small, proud smile on her lips. Marcus's brilliance, her expression seems to say. He's a genius. I sip my water, the coolness doing nothing to quell the fire of anticipation in my belly. The stale air in the conference room seems to pulse. to thrum with my suppressed excitement. He's reached the core of the algorithm now, the data projections, the revenue forecasts, the part where my little time bomb is set to explode. And as you can see from these projections, Marcus says, his voice booming with false confidence, gesturing towards the large screen, the potential for user acquisition and revenue generation is, his voice falters. His eyes narrow at the screen. I follow his gaze. Oh, it's beautiful. The numbers on the screen are a catastrophe. Instead of the soaring profits and exponential growth Marcus had promised, the sabotaged algorithm is projecting massive revenue losses. The target demographic, which should be young, tech-savvy urbanites, is now showing as retired fishermen in rural Alaska. The user engagement metrics are plummeting into negative figures, an impossibility that speaks volumes of corrupted data. A wave of stunned silence washes over the room. The investors exchange subtle, knowing glances. Marcus's confident facade crumbles like a sandcastle hit by a rogue wave. His face flushes a painful, blotchy red under the harsh fluorescent lights. He stammers, tapping at the laptop, then at the screen, as if a physical jiggle will somehow correct the digital train wreck. There seems to be a slight technical glitch, he manages, his voice cracking. The underlying data is sound, I assure you. This is just a display error. Sophia's perfectly composed expression has fractured. A tiny muscle twitches in her jaw. Her eyes, usually so cool and calculating, are wide with dawning horror. Their golden ticket, their meticulously planned heist, is turning to ash before their very eyes. I maintain my expression of wide-eyed, confused concern. I even lean forward, peering at the screen with a furrowed brow as if trying to understand the complex disaster unfolding. "Oh, Marcus," I murmur, just loud enough for the investors to hear my feigned sympathy. "What's happening?" One of the investors, a woman with iron gray hair and eyes that miss nothing, clears her throat. "Mr. Chen," she says, her voice devoid of warmth, "perhaps it would be best if you reevaluated your projections and rescheduled this meeting when your technical glitches are resolved." It's a dismissal, polite but brutal. The other investors are already gathering their papers, their faces unreadable masks. The meeting is over, their dreams for today at least are dead. And I, Emma Santos, the supportive girlfriend, the overlooked partner, am the one who quietly, invisibly pulled the trigger. The parking garage is cold, damp, and echoing. The perfect setting for the post-mortem of a disaster. Marcus slams his briefcase onto the grimy concrete floor, the sound reverberating through the empty space. He's vibrating with a furious, impotent rage. "I don't understand," he shouts, his voice raw. "It should have worked perfectly. The algorithm was flawless. I checked it 100 times. He turns to me, his eyes wild. "This is your fault." "My fault?" I ask, my voice carefully modulated to convey hurt and confusion. Inside, I'm a silent, cheering stadium. "Yes, your fault. You're supposed to be the tech whiz. You helped me build the damn thing. You should have double-checked everything. You didn't help enough with the final stress tests." He's pacing now, a caged animal. I pull out my phone, subtly hitting the record button. This tirade is gold. Every cruel, accusatory word is another piece of evidence, another thread in the web I'm weaving. "Marcus, that's not fair," I say, my voice trembling slightly. "I did everything you asked. I thought it was perfect, too." He runs his hands through his hair, his expensive suit now rumpled, his tie askew. He looks pathetic, defeated. "This is a disaster, Emma, a complete disaster. Kane will hear about this. We're ruined." "We'll figure it out, Marcus," I say, stepping closer, placing a comforting hand on his arm. He flinches away as if my touch burns him. "Good. We always do." My voice is soft, reassuring. The voice of the ever-forgiving, ever-supportive Emma he thinks he knows. He doesn't respond, just stares at the concrete wall, his shoulders slumped. The echo of our voices hangs in the air, a funeral dirge for his ambition, for their stolen dream. And I, the grieving girlfriend, am secretly, triumphantly conducting the orchestra. Later that evening, curled up on my lumpy futon with a cup of tea and a profound sense of satisfaction, I look out my apartment window. It's a chilly night. the kind where the city seems to huddle in on itself. And there, across the street, under the flickering orange glow of a streetlight, are Marcus and Sophia. Their body language is a symphony of discord. Sophia is gesturing angrily, her usually graceful movements sharp, jerky. Even from this distance, I can see the fury in her stance. Marcus is defensive, his hands raised in a placating gesture that clearly isn't working. He points towards my building, towards my window, blaming me, no doubt. His inadequate girlfriend, the source of all his problems. Their voices are too low to carry across the street, but their argument is clear. The first crack in their unholy alliance, the pressure of failure, the public humiliation, it's already starting to fray the edges of their carefully constructed partnership. I watch them, a cold smile playing on my lips. This is just the beginning. They thought they could break me, discard me, build their empire on my ruins. They have no idea the architect of destruction they've truly unleashed. The sight of their first public, stress-fueled argument is a sweeter nectar than any expensive wine Sophia could bring. The show, my dear traders, has only just begun. The industry networking event is exactly as I remembered, a cacophony of forced laughter, clinking glasses, and the subtle perfume of ambition. Men and women in sharp suits and sharper smiles, all angling for an introduction, a connection, a sliver of advantage. And in the center of it all, holding court like a modern-day Caesar, is Alexander Kane. I'm not here as Marcus Chen's plus one, a decorative accessory to his ambition. I'm here through my legitimate, if unremarkable, marketing job at a small agency. A job Marcus barely acknowledges. A job Sophia once subtly mocked as cute. It's my Trojan horse. Kane is speaking, his voice amplified through the ballroom. A charismatic blend of visionary rhetoric and brutal pragmatism. When the Quanda session begins, my hand shoots up. I'm called upon. The spotlight finds me, a small, insignificant figure in a sea of hopefuls. Mr. Kane, I begin, my voice clear and steady, betraying none of the adrenaline thrumming through my veins. You've spoken extensively about the shift towards hyper-personalized user experiences. With the increasing saturation in established social media platforms, what emerging strategies do you foresee for authentic community building and engagement in niche markets, particularly those resistant to traditional advertising? It's a good question, an insightful question. It showcases my understanding of the market, my strategic thinking, and my focus on authenticity, a Kane buzzword. I see a flicker of interest in his eyes. He answers thoughtfully, his gaze lingering on me for a moment longer than necessary before moving to the next question. Later, as the formal part of the evening dissolves into a frenzy of schmoozing, he approaches me. Alexander Kane, himself. That was a very astute question, Ms. Santos, Emma Santos, I reply, offering my hand. His grip is firm, his eyes appraising. Santos, you have a keen insight into the market. My team is always looking for fresh perspectives. He hands me his card. Perhaps we could discuss your ideas further sometime. The expensive lighting of the ballroom seems to spotlight this moment, this impossible, exhilarating exchange. In my past life, I wouldn't have dared to speak, let alone attract his attention. I would have been hovering in Marcus's shadow, terrified of saying the wrong thing. Now I'm stepping into my own light. My carefully curated social media posts about the networking event, a discreet photo with a generic caption about inspiring industry leaders, a LinkedIn update about valuable insights gained. Do not go unnoticed. Marcus, who usually scrolls past my professional updates with a dismissive glance, suddenly becomes intensely interested. You met Kane? He asks, his voice a little too casual, a little too bright, as he perches on the edge of my futon, watching me get ready for work. Briefly, I say, applying mascara with a steady hand. He gave a great talk. Just a talk? Did you speak to him? He asked me a follow-up to my question, seemed interested in some of my thoughts on niche community engagement. And just like that, the transformation begins. Suddenly, I am no longer just Emma, his slightly boring, overly emotional girlfriend. I am Emma, the girl who caught Alexander Kane's eye. The flowers start arriving. Cheap carnations at first, then slightly better roses. He plans romantic dates to my favorite little Italian place, The one he always used to say was too quaint. He listens, really listens. When I talk about my day, his eyes alight with a greedy, opportunistic spark whenever I mention anything related to Kane Industries. So, this Ben Carter you mentioned before from Kane's acquisitions team, what's his specific focus? He'll ask, trying to sound offhand. Or, did Kane mention any particular pain points his current portfolio companies are experiencing? It's sickeningly transparent. He sees me as a gateway, a conduit to his idol. My skin crawls with the insincerity of his newfound attentiveness. But I play along. Oh, how I play along. I feed him scraps of information, carefully selected, deliberately vague, designed to make him look eager but ultimately uninformed, unprofessional, perhaps even a little desperate, should he ever try to leverage them. He thinks he's playing me. He has no idea he's dancing to my tune, a puppet on strings he can't even see. The aroma of rich espresso and freshly baked pastries hangs heavy in the air of cafe serendipity. It's an upscale little place, all exposed brick and artisanal lighting, the kind of establishment Alexander Kane frequents for informal meetings. It's also, coincidentally, the exact same cafe where Marcus and Sophia conduct their clandestine strategy sessions, their secret betrayals. I arranged this meeting with Kane under the guise of discussing a potential marketing consultancy role for a new tech incubator he's backing. He's charming, incisive, his questions cutting straight to the heart of my proposals. I'm animated, passionate, laying out my vision, the real version of my algorithm, the one untainted by sabotage. He's impressed. I can see it in the way he leans forward, his gaze intent. And then, right on cue, through the large picture window of the cafe, I see him. Marcus. He's pacing on the sidewalk across the street, phone pressed to his ear, no doubt in a heated, hushed conversation with Sophia. He glances towards the cafe, a casual, dismissive look, and then he freezes. His eyes lock onto me, then onto Alexander Kane, then back to me, animatedly chatting, laughing, with his idol, his golden ticket. The shock on his face is a beautiful, exquisite thing. His jaw drops, his phone slips slightly from his ear. Jealousy, raw and potent, wars with disbelief. He sees me, not as his girlfriend, but as a rival, a threat. Someone who has achieved in a single, casual coffee meeting what he's been desperately clawing for. I offer Kane a brilliant smile, pretending not to have noticed the drama unfolding outside. The rich taste of my cappuccino mingles with the even richer taste of anticipation. The game is escalating and Marcus is starting to unravel. The call comes later that week. Sophia. Her voice is honey sweet, laced with that fake concern she wields like a surgeon's scalpel. Emma, darling, can we talk? I'm worried about you. We meet at a quiet wine bar, her choice. She orders an expensive Chardonnay, her eyes scanning my face for any sign of weakness. Listen, Em, she begins, her voice a low conspiratorial murmur. I know you're excited about this Kane connection, and you should be, but I've seen how Marcus gets when he's fixated on something or someone. I'm just worried he's using you. Oh, the irony. It's so thick I could spread it on toast. What do you mean? I ask, feigning innocence, my heart a cold, steady beat. He's obsessed with Kane. And now that you're friendly with him, I'm afraid Marcus will try to manipulate the situation. Manipulate you. She reaches across the table, her manicured hand covering mine. You're my best friend, Emma. I don't want to see you get hurt. My phone, nestled in my lap, is silently recording every word. Every sympathetic lie, every carefully crafted manipulation. He has been asking a lot of questions about Kane, I admit, letting a slight tremor enter my voice. Sophia nods, her expression grave. I knew it. Look, Emma, maybe we should protect ourselves. You and me, your algorithm, your marketing genius, it's incredible. Marcus, well, he's good at the business side, but the vision, that's all you. Maybe we should think about starting something on our own, just the two of us. Cut Marcus out before he ruins everything for you. Her eyes are shining with sincerity, or what passes for it in her world. She's offering me a lifeline, a way out, a chance to partner with her. She's trying to betray Marcus, to steal my work for herself. under the guise of protecting me. It's a bold move, a stupid move. I I don't know, Sophia, I say, pretending to be overwhelmed, conflicted. That's a big step. Think about it, sweetie, she says, squeezing my hand. We'd be unstoppable. The weight of my phone in my lap feels like a loaded weapon. She has no idea the ammunition she's just handed me. She continues talking, outlining her vision for our company, her voice full of false enthusiasm, digging her own grave deeper with every syllable. The pieces are falling into place faster than I could have hoped. But I know them. I know their greed, their desperation. They wouldn't just rely on Sophia's clumsy attempt to woo me. They'd have a backup plan. It takes a few days of careful observation, of monitoring their digital footprints, the ones they think are hidden. But I find it. An email chain. Not on my old compromised account, but on a new encrypted one Marcus set up, CCing Sophia. Subject, Kane strategy, alternate route. Marcus. Sophia, your approach with Emma is delicate, good, but we need a more direct option. I've drafted a proposal to send directly to Kane's general submission portal. We highlight the algorithm's potential, my algorithm's potential, and position ourselves as the primary innovators. Sophia. And Emma, what if she finds out? Or worse, what if Kane mentions her to us? Marcus, we frame her as a supportive but ultimately junior contributor. If Kane brings her up, we express surprise, imply she's perhaps overstating her involvement due to, well, emotional attachment. Maybe even a little possessive. Trying to sabotage our innovative partnership if she feels left out. We can make it work. We just need to be convincing. It's a carbon copy of their strategy from my previous life. The exact same lies, the same insidious plan to discredit me, to paint me as an unstable, clingy girlfriend while they swoop in and claim all the glory. I sit in my apartment, the dim lamplight casting long shadows on the walls. Printed emails, audio files, screenshots. The evidence surrounds me like a fortress. They think they're so clever, so cunning. They have no idea they're walking into a meticulously laid trap. The spider waits patiently in the center of her web. And the flies. Oh, the flies are buzzing closer and closer. The call comes on a Tuesday morning, rain lashing against my apartment window, a dramatic soundtrack to the turning of my fate. The caller ID flashes an unfamiliar number, but I answer with a professional calm I didn't possess 6 months ago. Miss Santos, this is Alexander Kane. My heart gives a single powerful thud against my ribs. I grip the phone tighter, my knuckles white. Mr. Kane. Good morning. Emma, please call me Alex. His voice is warm, direct. I've had my team review the refined algorithm proposal you sent over after our coffee. Frankly, it's one of the most innovative and potentially disruptive pieces of marketing tech I've seen in years. The integration of predictive behavioral analytics with real-time sentiment mapping, it's brilliant. The real, unflawed version. The one I'd painstakingly perfected. The one that represented my true vision, not the crippled decoy I'd fed to Marcus. Thank you, Alex. I manage, my voice surprisingly steady. Brilliant enough, he continues, that I'd like to offer you a position at Kane Industries, senior marketing strategist with a focus on new platform development. You'd have the resources, the team, the autonomy to bring your vision to life. And, of course, a compensation package commensurate with your talent. The rain against the glass seems to intensify, mirroring the sudden storm of elation and vindication raging within me. This is it. This is more than I'd dared to hope for. Not just revenge, but triumph on my own terms. My plan, my meticulous, patient plan, has exceeded even my own wildest expectations. Alex, I say, a genuine smile finally breaking through my composure. I'd be honored to accept. A few days later, during my onboarding at Kane Industries, a sleek, minimalist office buzzing with quiet intensity, Alex calls me into his glass-walled office. We're discussing the initial rollout strategy for my algorithm, which he's already fast-tracked. By the way, Emma, he says, leaning back in his ergonomic chair, his gaze thoughtful. My internal due diligence team, they're thorough. When we first considered your profile after the networking event, and then more seriously after your proposal, they flagged an association. A Mr. Marcus Chen and a Miss Sophia Rivera, co-founders of a small startup, Innovatex Solutions, I believe? My breath catches. Here it comes. They noted that Innovatech has a rather aggressive reputation in the incubator circuit. Alex continues, his tone neutral. A few promising partnerships that dissolved acrimoniously. Whispers of borrowed intellectual property. Nothing concrete enough for legal action, but enough to raise a yellow flag for our investment committee. We'd actually passed on a preliminary pitch from them about 8 months ago. Seemed derivative, poorly executed. 8 months ago. That means, in my past life, even before they'd fully stolen my work and left me to die, Kane had already investigated them. He'd already seen through their facade. He'd dismissed Marcus as unreliable, their venture as unoriginal. I just hadn't lived long enough to see that vindication. The irony is a bitter, satisfying pill. I had been so consumed by their betrayal, so convinced of their imminent success built on my stolen dreams that I never imagined the industry itself might have already judged them and found them wanting. My revenge, in some ways, was already in motion before I even returned. They were former associates, I say carefully. We had different visions for the future. Alex nods, his expression unreadable. Due diligence is a fascinating beast, Emma. Reveals all sorts of interesting connections. And disconnections. The implication hangs in the air, he knows. Or at least he suspects. And he's chosen me. The power shift is intoxicating. One day, I'm a struggling marketing assistant in a dead-end job, trapped in a toxic relationship. The next, I'm a senior marketing strategist at one of the most influential tech firms in the world, my ideas valued, my expertise sought after. I sit in Kane Industries' expansive, glass-walled conference room, my new laptop open before me. Spreadsheets, market projections, internal memos detailing upcoming acquisitions and strategic partnerships. Information that just weeks ago would have been unthinkable for me to access. From this vantage point, overlooking the sprawling city, I can almost see the tiny, insignificant building where Marcus and Sophia are still wrestling with their failing venture, oblivious to the seismic shift that has just occurred in my life and, by extension, theirs. The access is more than just data. It's leverage. I see the industry from the inside now, understand its currents, its power dynamics. I know which startups are struggling, which are ripe for takeover, which investors are looking for the next big thing. I hold cards I never even knew existed in my previous life. And the most delicious part? They have no idea. They still see me as the naive, heartbroken girl they left behind. They're about to be very, very surprised. The rush is dizzying, a heady cocktail of triumph and control. For the first time in either of my lives, I feel like I'm not just reacting to their machinations, but actively shaping the game board. Marcus Chen has been persistent, Alex says casually one afternoon, stopping by my new, spacious office. He gestures to a sleek, modern art piece on my wall, a gift from him, to inspire innovation. Multiple emails to my executive assistant. A rather desperate-sounding voicemail. Even tried to corner one of my VPs at a charity gala last night. Keeps mentioning your name. Claims to be your primary business partner on the algorithm project. A cold smile touches my lips. Does he now? He's requesting a meeting, a synergy discussion, he calls it. Alex raises an eyebrow, a hint of amusement in his eyes. Ordinarily, I'd ignore it. His previous pitch, as I mentioned, was underwhelming. But given his association with you, I thought I'd run it by you first. This is the moment, the perfect stage, the confluence of all my carefully laid plans. Actually, Alex, I say, my voice smooth as silk, I think you should take the meeting. He looks surprised. You do? Why? Let them pitch. Let them present their version of the algorithm, their vision for its future. I pause, letting the implication hang in the air. I think it would be illuminating for everyone involved. A slow smile spreads across Alex's face. He's no fool. He understands strategy, power plays, the subtle art of letting an opponent defeat themselves. Illuminating, he repeats, a new understanding dawning in his eyes. Yes, I rather think it might be. I'll have my assistant schedule it for next week. And Emma, Perhaps you should be present. As a technical consultant, of course. The executive floor's polished marble surfaces seem to gleam with a predatory promise. The stage is set. The actors are about to take their places. And I, Emma Santos, will be directing their final, humiliating scene. The elevator at Kane Industries is a silent mirrored cage, whisking me upwards towards the executive suites. As I ascend, I catch my reflection. The woman staring back is not the broken, betrayed girl who haunted my memories of that first life. Her eyes are clear, confident, a hint of steel in their depths. Her posture is straight, her shoulders back. The bespoke suit Alex's personal stylist helped me choose fits perfectly, a subtle armor of success. There are no tear tracks on this woman's face, no shadows of doubt in her gaze. She radiates in quiet intelligence, an unshakable self-possession. Everything Marcus and Sophia had systematically, cruelly convinced me I lacked. They had chipped away at my confidence, undermined my abilities, made me question my own worth, until I was a hollow shell of myself. The irony is that their betrayal, their theft, their ultimate abandonment, the very things that destroyed me in that first life, became the crucible that forged this new Emma. The pain, the rage, the burning desire for justice, they hadn't broken me. They'd reforged me, stronger, sharper, unbreakable. The elevator dings softly, the doors sliding open onto the hushed, opulent expanse of the top floor. The moment of recognition isn't just about seeing a different face in the mirror. It's about acknowledging the profound, irreversible transformation within. The victim is gone. The victor has arrived. And she's ready for the reckoning. The vast boardroom at Kane Industries is intimidating by design. Floor-to-ceiling windows offer a panoramic view of the city skyline, a visual testament to the power wielded within these walls. The long, polished mahogany table gleams under recessed lighting, reflecting the nervous faces of Marcus Chen and Sofia Rivera as they're ushered in by Alex's impeccably discreet assistant. They stop dead in their tracks when they see me, not hovering in the background, not fetching coffee, but seated at the table, directly to Alexander Kane's right. Marcus's jaw, which had been set in a look of strained confidence, goes slack. His eyes widen, a flicker of disbelief, then dawning horror, passing through them. Sophia, ever the actress, recovers more quickly, her lips stretching into a brittle, unconvincing smile. "Emma, what a surprise to see you here." Alex Kane rises, his presence commanding the room. "Marcus, Sophia, please, have a seat." His tone is cordial, almost bland, giving nothing away. Miss Santos is our new senior marketing strategist specializing in innovative platform development. I've asked her to join us as she has considerable expertise in the subject matter you wish to discuss. He gestures to me. In fact, Emma is one of the most innovative marketing minds I've encountered in recent years. Her insights into user engagement are truly groundbreaking. Marcus's face has drained of all color. He looks like he's seen a ghost. A very successful, very composed ghost who is about to orchestrate his public execution. Sophia's smile wavers, her eyes darting between me and Kane, desperately trying to assess the new, terrifying landscape. They sit, their movements stiff, awkward. The power dynamic in the room has shifted so dramatically, it's almost a physical force. "So," Alex says, steepling his fingers, his gaze resting on Marcus. "You wanted to discuss a partnership, an algorithm, I believe?" The presentation is a train wreck in slow motion. Marcus, flustered and visibly sweating, fumbles through his slides. He's using a slightly modified version of my original unflawed algorithm, the one he must have salvaged before I planted the corrupted one on his USB. He clearly didn't understand its intricacies because his explanations are vague, full of buzzwords but lacking substance. Sophia tries to interject, to smooth over his increasingly incoherent ramblings, but her interventions only highlight their lack of genuine understanding. When they finally, painfully conclude, Alex turns to me. "Emma, your thoughts? As our resident expert." This is my cue. I take a breath, my voice calm, measured, as I connect my laptop to the crystal clear display screens. "Thank you, Alex. Marcus, Sophia, your presentation was interesting." I click, and the screen splits. On one side, their clumsy derivative presentation. On the other, my original, meticulously documented algorithm, complete with timestamps, development notes, and early email exchanges between myself, Marcus, and Sophia, outlining my initial concept. What you've presented, I continue, my voice resonating in the suddenly silent boardroom, bears a striking resemblance to a proprietary algorithm I developed over the last 2 years. An algorithm, I might add, that was stored on my personal laptop, which, curiously, experienced unauthorized access on several occasions. I click again. Email trails appear, Sophia and Marcus discussing how to manage Emma's expectations. Screenshots of their plan to ease me out. The digital breadcrumbs of their betrayal, stark and undeniable. Then, the audio. My phone connects seamlessly. First, Marcus's furious tirade in the parking garage after the sabotaged investor meeting, blaming me for his failure to understand my corrupted work. "This is your fault. You're supposed to be the tech whiz." His voice, raw and accusatory, fills the room. Sophia flinches. Next, Sophia's voice from the wine bar, dripping with false sympathy as she tries to recruit me to betray Marcus. "Maybe we should think about starting something on our own, just the two of us. Cut Marcus out." Followed by her casual admission, "Marcus, well, he's good at the business side, but the vision, that's all you. He's been leveraging your ideas for months, sweetie. I was just trying to protect you both." The evidence is overwhelming, irrefutable. Each click of my mouse, each played recording, is another nail in their coffins. Alex Kane's expression, initially neutral, has grown increasingly dark. His eyes like chips of ice as the full scope of their deception, their systematic theft, their utter lack of integrity becomes undeniably clear. The air in the boardroom crackles with a tension so thick, it's almost suffocating. Marcus and Sophia sit frozen, their faces masks of disbelief and dawning terror. Checkmate. Sophia breaks first. The carefully constructed facade of composure shatters, and tears, real ones this time, hot and desperate, stream down her perfectly made-up face. Her voice is a choked sob. "Emma, please." She reaches a trembling hand across the table as if to touch me, then snatches it back. "Remember our friendship? All those years I was manipulated. Marcus, he can be very persuasive. He twisted things. I never wanted to hurt you, I swear." Her plea is a pathetic, transparent lie, and everyone in the room knows it. Her eyes dart towards Alex Kane, a desperate appeal for leniency, for understanding. Marcus, on the other hand, explodes with anger. His chair scrapes back as he jolts to his feet, his face contorted with rage. "This is a setup. You set us up, Emma. How could you do this? After everything, after us. You're trying to destroy me. You're jealous, that's what it is. Jealous of my ambition. Jealous that Sophia and I actually made something of your half-baked ideas." His accusations are wild, desperate, the last gasps of a drowning man. The air conditioning hums steadily, a monotonous counterpoint to their emotional outbursts. I listen, my expression carefully neutral, a polite, detached interest on my face, as if I'm observing a mildly entertaining, if somewhat overwrought, theatrical performance. Their pleas, their accusations, their tears, they wash over me, leaving no trace. The Emma who would have been shattered by their words, who would have doubted herself, who would have felt a pang of misplaced guilt, is long gone. This Emma feels nothing for them but a distant, clinical pity. Their desperation is a testament to my victory. When their pathetic appeals finally falter, when Sophia's sobs subside into ragged gasps, and Marcus's furious bluster deflates into sullen silence, I speak. My voice is as cold and steady as winter rain, cutting through the residual emotion in the room. "You both made your choices," I say, my gaze sweeping over them, meeting Marcus's glare, then Sophia's tear-filled eyes without flinching. "You decided I was too weak to notice, too stupid to understand, too forgiving to fight back. You decided my work, my ideas, my future were yours for the taking. You were wrong." I pause, letting the weight of my words sink in. "This isn't about jealousy, Marcus. It's about justice. It's about reclaiming what was stolen from me." I turn slightly to address Alex Kane, though my words are for them. "Mr. Kane, as you've seen, The intellectual property presented by Mr. Chen and Miss Rivera is demonstrably mine. I have already filed formal complaints with the Industry Ethics Board, providing them with the same comprehensive evidence you've witnessed today. I have also contacted several other individuals and small startups who had unfortunate dealings with Innovatech solutions in the past. It seems there's a pattern of misrepresentation and unethical acquisition of proprietary concepts. Marcus pales visibly. Sophia lets out a small, strangled sound. Their professional reputations, I conclude, my voice calm, devoid of triumph, a simple statement of fact, are, I believe, permanently compromised. The words land like hammer blows in the silent, opulent boardroom. There are no more tears, no more angry denials, just the dawning, crushing realization of their utter and complete ruin. Alex Kane, who has observed the entire exchange with a thunderous expression, finally speaks. His voice is quiet, but carries the unmistakable weight of authority, of final judgment. Mr. Chen, Miss Rivera, he begins, his eyes fixed on them with cold disdain. Kane Industries prides itself on integrity, innovation, and ethical partnerships. What I have witnessed here today is a flagrant, calculated attempt at deception and intellectual property theft. Such behavior is not only contemptible, it is anathema to everything we stand for. He pauses, the silence stretching, heavy and suffocating. Effective immediately, you are both persona non grata at Kane Industries. Any existing proposals or discussions are terminated. Furthermore, I will be personally ensuring that my colleagues in the venture capital community are made fully aware of your business practices. Your entrepreneurial dreams, as you presented them, are over. It's a death sentence, a corporate blacklisting. In the tight-knit world of tech startups and venture capital, Kane's word is law. No investor will touch them. No reputable company will partner with them. Alex nods curtly to his assistant, who has materialized silently by the door. Please escort Mr. Chen and Miss Rivera from the building. Security guards, equally silent and imposing, step forward. Marcus looks like he might protest, might lash out again, but one look at Kane's implacable face, at the impassive guards, and the fight visibly drains out of him. He sags, defeated. Sophia, her face streaked with ruined makeup, doesn't even try to resist. She stumbles slightly in her expensive heels as she's guided towards the exit. I watch through the massive boardroom window as they emerge onto the street far below. Marcus is shouting, gesticulating wildly, his face a mask of fury. Sophia is hunched, weeping, a picture of abject misery. The sight of their public humiliation, their utter downfall, should feel like a triumphant crescendo. But as I stand there, bathed in the cool, sterile light of the boardroom, I feel nothing. No joy. No hatred. Just a profound, quiet sense of closure. Like finally setting down a crushing weight I'd carried for far, far too long. The ghost of the betrayed Emma from my past life can finally, truly rest. 6 months later. The view from my corner office at Kane Industries is breathtaking. Morning sunlight streams through the floor-to-ceiling windows, glinting off the sleek glass and steel of the city below, a city that now feels full of promise instead of painful memories. On my expansive desk, a vase of fresh jasmine and lilies, a gift from my marketing team, fills the air with a delicate, hopeful perfume. The success metrics glowing on my oversized monitor tell a story of their own. 3 major product launches revolutionized, user engagement tripled, market share captured. My work, my success, my vindication, not through destruction, but through creation. The quiet hum of my office is a world away from the cramped, musty studio I once shared with Marcus. A space that always felt heavy with unspoken resentments and his unacknowledged ambitions. Here there is light, space, and the invigorating energy of meaningful work. I take a sip of my perfectly brewed Ethiopian yirga chefe, a small luxury I can now easily afford, and smile. The mail on a Saturday morning usually consists of industry journals and the occasional bill already handled by my efficient assistant. But today, nestled among the glossy magazines, is a thick, cream-colored envelope. The calligraphy is elegant, inviting, a wedding invitation. My heart gives a small, unfamiliar flutter. Not the anxious, possessive thrum I used to associate with Marcus and our ill-fated wedding plans. but a gentle, warm anticipation. It's from an old college friend, Sarah, someone I'd reconnected with since my rebirth. She's marrying her longtime partner, a kind, funny architect who adores her. As I fill out the RSVP card, Emma Santos joyfully accepts. I reflect on the stark contrast. The wedding I once planned with Marcus had been an exercise in compromise, his preferences subtly overriding mine at every turn, Sophia always there to murmur that Marcus knows best, Em. Every detail, from the venue to the guest list, had been tinged with his control, his need to be the center of attention. This celebration, Sarah's celebration, will be about genuine love, shared joy, and mutual respect. Things I now realize are non-negotiable. I seal the envelope with a sense of quiet contentment. Some things, it turns out, are worth waiting for, worth getting right the second time around. Leaving my favorite independent coffee shop on a crisp autumn afternoon, the kind where the air smells of cinnamon and fallen leaves, I pause at the curb, waiting for my company car. And then, I see them. Across the street, huddled near a bus stop, looking like faded photocopies of their former selves. Marcus and Sophia. Marcus is thinner, his expensive suit replaced by a slightly rumpled, off-the-rack version that hangs loosely on his frame. His hair, once perfectly styled, is unkempt. He's arguing quietly with Sophia, his gestures weary, defeated. Sophia looks diminished. Her designer clothes are gone, replaced by something nondescript. Her face pale and drawn, lines of stress etched around her eyes that no amount of makeup can conceal. A pang. Not of sympathy, not anymore, but of a distant, almost clinical pity. I'd heard through the industry grapevine, a surprisingly efficient network of gossip, that Marcus had eventually found work at a small, struggling marketing firm, earning a fraction of his previous ambitions. Sophia, after a series of failed attempts to launch another ill-conceived venture, had reportedly moved back in with her parents, her dreams of entrepreneurial glory in tatters. They don't see me. They're too absorbed in their quiet, bitter squabble, two drowning people clinging to the wreckage of their shared mistakes. As my sleek black town car pulls up, the driver opening the door for me, I glance back at them one last time. The once consuming fire of my rage, my pain, my need for revenge has dwindled to a cool gray ash. They are no longer monsters in my story, no longer the architects of my downfall. They are simply irrelevant. Two people I used to know in another life. I slide into the plush leather seat, the door closing with a soft, satisfying thud, and don't look back. The preliminary numbers from the Southeast Asia launch are exceeding all projections, Alex Kane says, his eyes alight with genuine enthusiasm. We're in his office, a comfortable, collaborative space where ideas flow as freely as the artisanal coffee. He's not just my boss anymore. He's become a mentor, a partner, a friend. He gestures to the interactive display on his wall, complex data streams painting a picture of global success. Our success. The localized influencer campaign was a masterstroke, Emma, he continues. Your instincts for cultural nuance are uncanny. Our conversations are like this now, a dynamic exchange of ideas, mutual respect, a shared vision for the future of Kane Industries. He treats me as an equal, values my insights, challenges me to think bigger, bolder. It's everything a partnership should be, everything Marcus, with his fragile ego and desperate need for control, could never offer. We discuss expansion into European markets, the potential acquisition of a promising AI startup, the ethical implications of next-generation data mining. The conversation flows, easy and invigorating, two minds perfectly in sync, focused on building something meaningful, something lasting. That evening, I stand on the balcony of my apartment. It's a spacious, light-filled penthouse now, a world away from the cramped studio where this second life began. The city lights twinkle below, a million tiny stars scattered across the velvet darkness. The air is cool, carrying the faint, sweet scent of blooming night jasmine from the planter boxes I've filled. I think about the woman I was, the Emma Santos who died alone and betrayed in that other life. The naive, trusting girl who poured her heart and soul into people who saw her only as a stepping stone, a resource to be exploited and discarded. A wave of profound gratitude washes over me. for this impossible second chance, for the strength I found within myself, for the opportunity to rewrite my story, not just for revenge, but for redemption. My redemption. The cool evening breeze whispers around me, a gentle caress. For the first time, in this life or the last, I feel a sense of peace so deep, so complete, it settles into my very bones. The ghosts of the past are finally silent. The weight is lifted. Emma Santos is free, utterly, magnificently, and finally free.